Hey everybody, it is Thursday, and that means that I'm on Twitter answering your questions. Use the hashtag KatieFAQ. I found them, and I'm answering them. So, I have 4 questions today, as well as a journal topic. So, without further ado, and if you're not following me on Twitter, you can find me at Katie Morton. Okay? And if you want to comment, don't forget to add me on Google Plus and add me to your circles, they call it, because then I can approve your comments and I can actually respond, because sometimes I can't, and then I get frustrated. Okay? Question number 1. Katie, what are your thoughts on EMDR? My therapist is recommending it and I'm kind of scared. I've received a couple of these, all within the same kind of thing. What are my thoughts on EMDR? Because my therapist has recommended it. Some people's therapists don't do it. I personally don't do it. So I'll give you my opinion on it. But since I don't do it, I feel like I don't want to, I don't know. It's not something that I've learned. I know what it's about. I'm just not a huge fan of it. Okay, so that's like roughly my my thoughts. But what EMDR stands for is, and I always forget, so it's eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. Now, it's a therapy treatment where a clinician, a therapist like myself, who's been properly trained, will have you kind of do some eye. So like say I'm watching my fingers go. We do these kind of eye movements while we go through the trauma. Now, the belief behind EMDR is that our brains, much like our body, when they get injured and they have like a trauma, that as we relive it, we have nightmares, we get triggered, we think about it, it continues to like fester, it gets upset, and that injury, that trauma continues to live in our brain. And if we do EMDR, they believe that we can kind of clear out that blockage or that the trauma that's festering and kind of clean out the wound and let it heal properly. So it has helped many of my clients. Just because I'm not a huge fan doesn't mean that it's not working, because it definitely is something that works for many people. If your therapist has recommended it for you, I would encourage you to give it a try, because we can't knock it till we try it, right? And I promise you that if you don't like it, you'll know right away. And if you find it really helpful, you'll also know right away. So hopefully your therapist does it themselves if they're recommending it, because it can be kind of tricky to tell it to another person. But if you're having a lot of trouble talking about your trauma and you find every time you bring it up, you get overwhelmed and you get triggered, it's definitely something that can really help with that. Okay? And if anybody else has tried it, like it or not like it, let us know what you think, okay? Because I'm just one opinion, right? It's just me. I've had clients do really well, like I said, and I've had clients who don't really like it. So I'm just kind of on the fence. I find it a little bizarre feeling. I've gone through some trainings for it. I didn't complete it because it wasn't something I wanted to do. Okay? Question number 2. Is it possible to relapse with depression? I've been good in making a lot of progress, but all of a sudden my depression is coming back really strong. I don't understand it. I don't want to go backwards. I have too much going on for that to happen. I've heard from a lot of you different versions of this. Another question that I got about this was, I'm doing really well on my antidepressants. Can't I go off of them? Now, the question about going off antidepressants, no. Talk to your doctor first. Please, please, please. Oftentimes we're doing well because we're on that medication, okay? As far as this question about can you relapse? Technically, yes. Our brain is very driven by hormones and chemicals, and keeping that all in balance keeps us happy and healthy and going about our day. And sometimes things can happen. It could be dietary. It could be our body's getting too used to the medication and we can kind of poop out, they call it, on our antidepressant. So I would definitely talk to your doctor, especially if you have a lot going on. You don't have time to kind of have a relapse of this depression. Along with doing things that make you happy, making time for yourself. If you're really busy and you're finding yourself really overwhelmed and stressed out, that can also lead to an increase in our depression or our anxiety. Things can kind of flare up because we don't have any extra energy left for ourselves. You know what I mean? So I would talk to your doctor and I would see about your medications, make sure everything's in line with that if you're on any. If not, take some extra time for yourself. Do some things to make you happy. If it's getting dark out, a lot of us will find we kind of go into seasonal affective disorder, like a little depression when it gets dark. Maybe put a bright light on your face for a little bit. I know that sounds really silly, but it can really, really help. Okay? Question number 3. Why do we need attachments? I find them scary and painful, but my counselor says that I need them. I just don't get why. So Attachments. I've talked about this before in other videos, and you can actually search on my channel for, I think it's just called attachment. Well, it'll render the result for the video that I did on this. But attachments are important because it's what helps us feel secure and safe. It gives us a place and a purpose. It gives us people in our lives that we can depend on. And as much as we all like to think, oh, I can do it on my own, I'm independent, I don't need anybody. Honestly, that's just our defensive. We're responding and we're acting like we don't want anybody and we don't need anyone, when in fact we're actually hurt, and it's like a protection, and we're doing it because someone we were attached to at one point really harmed us, and now we keep everyone at arm's length, right? But the reason that we need people close to us is so that we can live a happy, healthy life, because the interesting thing about humans is that we're really social creatures. That doesn't mean that we don't have anxiety or things like that around that, but we like to have other people. Not everybody likes big groups, but we like to have people in our lives, whether it's family, friends, a husband, a wife, a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. We like to have that. And it actually, we find that people in healthy relationships are happier and they live longer. So whether it's chemically in our brain or physiological, what we'll feel in our body, that's why we need attachments, because it actually keeps us healthier and happier longer. And I know it's easier to be like a puffer fish, stick out your spines and not let anybody near you, but I promise you, in the end, it's really worth it. And you're someone that's worth getting used or getting to know. And people will love to get to know you, and it's important to have people in your life, because when we create our little safety plans and stuff, we're relying on those people, right? And you all have them. So I think it's okay to let a couple people in and see how it goes. Okay? Question number 4. My family doesn't seem to understand my chronic illnesses. How do I better explain it? And there's a second part to this question. But as far as that goes, I find there's two things. I find with families, either they find that the verbiage and the words that doctors and physicians will use to be really tricky. And it's almost like such a high level of descriptive words. It's like a medical term, and they kind of glaze over and they don't even pay attention. So they don't actually understand it. So sometimes putting it in layman's terms and just talking to them about how it affects you daily and what it means for you can really be beneficial. If we've already tried to do that and they still don't understand, I think the best way is just to focus on you and just say, my body does not do this. I'm not sure for this person's specific chronic illnesses, but I find that, let's say we have chronic fatigue syndrome, right? You can say to someone who is like, you're always so tired, I don't understand what's wrong with you, why can't you do this, and blah, blah, and you can just say, my body wears out really quickly because it's lacking in, it could be adrenaline or it could be anything, whatever your doctor has told you the reason being, or what's happened to your body. I find just describing it that way and letting them know what you're feeling personally can help them kind of get out of the medical terminology. But also, on the flip side of that, some people just don't want to hear it. And those people may be kind of toxic. And I know for this particular person, you're talking about your family, so it's hard to get away from that. But I might just mention to them, just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's not real for me. And so if you can at least pretend to get it while I'm here and understand what's going on, that would be really, really helpful, and it'd make me feel a lot better. Is that something you can do for me? And I know it's hard for us to ask things of others, but sometimes we have to, because if we don't ask, we don't know if we'll get it, right? And it's definitely worth it. Also, there are helpful brochures you can give. You can also Google it with them and talk them through it and say, this is how it is expressed in my body, in my experience. That can help sometimes too. Or have your doctor or therapist talk to them. I'm just giving you all the options of things that I've done in the past. Okay, last question. Also, and this is from the same thing. Also, I find myself feeling lazy when my symptoms flare up. How do I fight back? Honestly, whatever you can do within the restrictions of your chronic illness can help. Finding things that can help keep your mind and your hands busy so that they don't have time to ruminate. Talking back to that voice is really helpful. Calling someone, getting online and chatting. I find the busier our hands are, the busier our mind is, the less time it has to ruminate on this so-called laziness, when really it's a chronic illness and there's nothing we can do about it. So I would definitely do things like that, put together little kind of survival kits and things like that with people to call and things to do night or day, rain or shine, so that we're never stuck without something to do. And if any of you have any tips and things that you like to do that help, let us know, because I'm always looking for new ideas and new things to offer to my clients as well. Now, the journal topic of the day is a great quote, and I actually swapped this out from my previous journal topic because someone just sent it to me on Twitter, and it's amazing. And it says, "I'm not afraid of storms, for I'm learning to sail my ship," by Louisa May Alcott. I just love this because life is stormy, right? It never is predictable. It never goes exactly the way that we hope it goes. We try so hard to do things just a certain way to get the right result, and it just never pans out. So what storms are you working through right now as you learn to sail your ship, and what have we learned? Just share, or even if you don't want to share, you can write about what you're learning now through the storm you're in. And I think that that's really helpful. Or if you've had a storm and you're through it, what did you learn? How did you get through it? What tools did you use? This can be really helpful because we can come back to this later if we're struggling again and be like, oh yeah, I did get through it and this is what I did. And that's why it's so helpful. And this is what I need to do again. Because if it worked once, chances are it'll work again. So let me know how that goes. Tomorrow is Friday. And before I go, this might be a little longer of a video. Sorry. I am leaving. I'm going back home for Thanksgiving. So I may not do the videos next week like I normally do, my Tuesday through Friday vlogs. I'll try to do some vlogging, but just so you know, I'll be visiting my family for Thanksgiving. And I will try to keep you all updated and at least tweet out or do little vlogs here and there. But I just wanted to let you know what's going on. But I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be on Facebook, so ask your questions. Okay? Bye!